This is Nothing Coherent. I'm Brandon.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Ryan.
On today's episode, we got some pretty good stuff. We're going to talk about the rise of potential streaming and the fall of Nintendo of America. President Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Yeah, Reggie's leaving us, unfortunately. That's current news going on in gaming, which I'm hopeful for. Doug Bowser, I think, is actually a really good idea for a replacement. So,
But it's Reggie.
I know it's Reggie, and Reggie's been a part of our lives for a long time. Like, he's basically been the father of Nintendo for us American boys over here on this side of the pond. So, like...
But we'll get to that later. Let's start with fighting with our family. Fighting with my family. The family. Is it fighting with...
It's fighting with my family.
I was right the third time.
We literally just went and saw the movie yesterday.
I was right the third time.
But, I loved this movie, and it's going to be really weird because you're not a pro wrestling fan. I am. So, like, we're going to have a different dynamic. I loved it. I did a little bit of research after we saw the movie. Everything in that movie is historically accurate with the exception of one scene with The Rock, which I thought was really, really good, minus Vince Vaughn's character. And that's just because they took her different coaches that she had at the time and just combined them into, like, one character, which actually makes sense from a storytelling perspective. And it also just makes it easier for us to relate to that character more from their perspective of, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to be a wrestler? Why do you want to wrestle? Which is probably actually my favorite scene in the movie. It's like when he's asking all of them, why do you want to wrestle?
Oh, he keeps asking her.
Yeah, he keeps asking her, why do you want to wrestle? Because I've been wrestling since I was 13. Like, and that's even in the documentary. Like, the same people asking her that question over and over and over again. And I loved the consistency and the accuracy represented in that film. I thought it was really well shot. I thought the actors in it did a good job. And then I loved the climax of it. Like, they actually leave it off right at the point where it's like, well, this is where her career started. So if you were interested in this film, you could actually watch her actual career on, like, the WWE Network. I thought that was a brilliant way rather than showing her continue on after she won the title. I thought ending it with her winning the title was the perfect ending for that film because there's so much more about her career. Anyway, I'll let you talk.
So let's assume, as somebody who never saw WWE, that I wouldn't have wanted to know the ending.
Oh, it's already documented. Like,
right, but I mean, like, I'd
that.
never heard of her. Like, I had no idea, but I get where you're coming from on that because it's a true story. So
right.
But I enjoyed it. Different. I mean, like, I knew we knew going in and coming out of it that we would have different opinions.
Right.
I mean, like, I know of John Cena, I know of The Rock, I know of The Undertaker, Ric Flair.
Right, you know, like, the main big guys.
So, like, for me, watching this movie, I was like, you have an important job to make me, one, care about wrestling, and two, care about these characters.
Right.
And finishing the movie, I had an actual, like, respect for wrestling.
Yeah.
That I didn't have before. Now, granted, I mean, I always kind of did, but, like, to see that it's fixed. It's not just, like, fake. I mean, it is fake, but it's...
Right, like...
we were discussing it's more like a play or, like...
Right, it's like a scripted event.
Yeah.
Like any scene in any movie or anything that would require stunts, it's basically the stuntmen doing the acting.
Right, it's kind of like a Broadway play.
Right.
Like anything like that. And so
Vince Vaughn's character actually says it's a soap opera where everything is turned up to an 11, where you're doing all your own physical work and you have a character that you're playing and that you're dealing with, which I really like that they address that because a lot of people do assume, oh, well, it's just fake and, like, everything that happens, like, nobody ever gets hurt, nobody ever deals with any actual, like, repercussions from being in the wrestling business, which is not true. I think
that's why one of the characters mentions that, like, they, because of going too far, because of everything they had done to try to get that, they got hurt.
Right.
And
they
injured
tried.
and
they were like, I've got to do all of this stuff just to get recognized by, like, the big leagues, which now is only the WWE.
Yeah.
Like, a long time ago, there was a few different options out there. Now, like, apart from, like, over in Japan and this new company that's about to start up, for, like, almost 20 years, WWE was only people's real option. So it made it incredibly hard for you to become, like, a professional wrestler. I've seen videos on YouTube of people doing incredibly dangerous stuff to their body, like, just for, like, the tape that they're going to send in to, like, WWE. And I'm like, I really like that they point that out in the movie of, you don't need to go throwing yourself off of a cage or slamming your body onto thumbtacks or all this other nonsense. Just focus on the actual character work and really sell like the actual wrestling aspect of it. They really give you the essence of what WWE themselves as a company is looking for within that movie. And I would say that if there's anybody who happens to listen to this that is interested in pro wrestling, watch that movie and you'll get a sense of what their actual trainers are looking for, which I thought was really cool.
So overall, I thought it was well acted. I enjoyed everyone in it. I don't remember any of the. This is where it gets really bad. I don't remember any of the actors' names. The girl that plays Paige is really good. The girl that plays Zag is really good. Her parents are really good.
Yeah.
All her like rivals / friends that are in the WWE are also really interesting to an extent.
Right.
They play their characters well. They play their part very well. I enjoyed overall everything about it. As somebody who doesn't really fully care for WWE, it's a movie about pursuing your dreams and about, are you doing this? Your dreams might overlap with somebody else's, or like these dreams, might just be there to make money and like make you successful in that.
Right.
So are you pursuing them because you want to, or because somebody else is telling you to?
Right.
So I think the message of the movie is really good and really uplifting. Overall, I do genuinely enjoy it. It's more of a drama than a comedy, and I think that's the biggest problem with the trailers is that and I think that was my biggest problem too. Going in, that's what I expected was a comedy, but watching it, I was like, no, this is much more of a drama.
Yeah. It's all about this girl that's leaving her home and going to another country and following her dreams. So like there's tons of movies that are like that. This one just happens to have pro wrestling as the main formula. And I agree with the acting and everything. I don't think there's a single person in the movie that did a bad job. All the characters in the movie are great, even like side characters that are only in like 1 or 2 scenes really. Like the people that her and her family are like training and stuff that they just show off. I think they really captured the spirit of that documentary really well, which I have seen. I believe it's also called Fighting with My Family.
It is, because at the end it says based on, it's something Fighting with My Family.
Right. So, like, if you were wanting to watch that documentary to see how accurate it is compared to the movie, Paige herself tweeted out that she thought that film was like 95% accurate. And if the person who lived it is telling you the movie's accurate, if that's like your big thing for movies, then I would give this one a shot because this one really captures the element of the true story.
Yeah. Overall, really enjoyed it. I give it a 7.5. I definitely recommend you watch it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be for everyone.
Sure.
So,
I would give it an 8. I really liked it. I feel like there's this weird middle part where they just go from her in developmental towards like the very end of the film.
Yeah.
Whereas like for me, knowing her history and how much time she spent in their developmental territory, I'm like, they're really speeding this along, and I guess that's just for the sake of the movie itself.
Yeah, I think there's some plot things that they were just like looking at her career and being like, these aren't that important.
Right, how do we address this? So for me, I was like, okay, I get that you're skipping around. You kind of have to, because if you don't,
it could spend too much time.
Right, you could spend too much time in this middle part where there's no success story at the end, kind of, and it's like there's just so much grief that's being built up from her being gone from her family and her family dealing with her being gone and just all the issues that are still going on back home. So it's like, let's get to the end. Let's get to the moment where everything's okay. Like, so for me, I think that if they would have taken more of the middle part of the documentary and made it a little bit longer, I probably would rate it higher. I feel like you would actually probably rate it lower. If that makes sense.
I think that's where you got to find the middle ground.
Right.
Of trying to appeal to the general audience
I think
and to
they
the
did
fans.
a really good job.
And so that's why I think it came down to that. Is that because even as somebody again who doesn't care, I enjoyed the movie.
Right.
As a movie, I enjoyed it. So like, I mean, if it's on Netflix or you have like you're on a plane or something and you have like an hour and a half to kill, I definitely recommend watching.
Right. It's not even very long.
It's like an hour and 40 minutes maybe.
Something like that. I enjoyed it. I probably wouldn't see it again, but I would definitely recommend it. If you're a wrestling fan, you should see it. I will just say that out the gate.
So I also saw How to Train Your Dragon 3 again last night because my fiance wanted to take my grandma. I only bring this up. I still love the movie, still recommend it. Is because of a discussion we had a few weeks ago on Pokemon. The Detective Pikachu trailer played, and these girls next to me who are probably the same age as us, maybe a little bit younger, she goes, I hear her go, I've never watched Pokemon, but we're going to see Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
And I looked. I just sat there and I almost wanted to be like, here's $20. Please buy your tickets when it come out, ma'am. Thank you.
Right.
So
and be
that's
like,
why I was just...
Thank you.
I heard that and I was
agree.
like,
Like,
but we'll see.
I think Detective Pikachu's going to take off like wildfire.
$1 billion. Still betting on that $1 billion.
I think so. I think...
I won't get into it more. Just wanted to bring that up because I heard that while I was there and I was like,
It's Nintendo. We can talk about that a little bit later, I guess. I'll just save it for now.
But I'll quickly hit. I didn't really do a whole lot this week. I played a lot of Far Cry. A lot.
That's fair.
I really like it. I think you would like it.
Hmm.
I think you played 5, right? We had this discussion.
Yeah.
It's like 5 if you took all the best elements of 5 and just put them in there. My only real complaint so far is I like and hate the base building. So there's a base you have that you can upgrade by taking out outposts, which give you like, I think it's ethanol is what they're like, their currency.
This reminds me of Fallout.
Yeah. Well, with the element of Far Cry, I think the actual base building itself is different and kind of refreshing, just because I obviously haven't played it.
Right.
But just that element adds a little bit something different, because almost every Far Cry has the same kind of vibe, and the story is great. But when you're just kind of roaming around and doing your thing, and it's the same kind of outpost situations, and you're like, okay, I've been like grinding through this for a while, and every game is the same essentially on that. So being able to build something adds just a different level to it.
Right. So when I say base building, I should clarify a little bit. So the base is already built. You have, I think it's 8 or 9 different things you level up.
You're more fortifying.
Yeah.
Like the base. Yeah.
And so like
that's what I kind of visualize, not like actually like a Minecraft.
Or like Fallout and 4, where it's
where you're building settlements.
Where it's
okay.
And I like that to an extent because you can pick and choose what you want. Like I got the base all the way up to the max level, but I'm doing the individual ones. But I got my health and my guns for hire, which are your companions, maxed out. So they have like 4 health bars, and they do like any of them can take out.
You're very handy in the game.
Which that's my biggest problem, kind of so far. Besides that, it is a little repetitive because first the companions in 5 you could have 2, but in this one you're down to 1 again. Which I liked 5, which it overpowered you some. But I liked having the dog and then the bear.
Yeah.
Because I'd send the dog out, he'd scout out everyone. And then the bear would just go in and wreck, and so I'd just stay back and snipe people off.
Just imagine a bear running through and just destroying a camp.
But maybe that's a later skill you get, and I'm just missing it. Because my skill points, I haven't really like leveled up a lot of stuff.
I could see them doing something like that.
I could too, but as of now, it doesn't let me. And so I was like, that's unfortunate. But overall, I enjoy it. Like, for $40, you should get it. It takes, like, everything great. Oh, sorry. So the other complaint is that, so, like, to get more ethanol, like, after you do all the outposts, you have to do some of them again, and then again to get the max. And I'm like...
That's such a hard thing to do in that game.
Yeah, well, like, they watched...
over and over.
He watched me the other day. I did... If you do an outpost stealthily, there's two levels to the stealth to get more ethanol. 1 is take out all the alarms, and 2 is not get noticed. The notice one is impossible, because if they see your AI, it's over.
Yeah.
Which is so
I've given up on that, because if not, I'd have to just not have an AI with me.
They had something like that in Far Cry 4, I think, where you had like the sneak thing that you had to do, and my AI guys would literally...
Oh, it's made me so mad. So I've given up on that aspect and have just done the alarm. So I keep restarting it because I want the extra ethanol that you can get from it. So... I overall do enjoy the game for $40. I think it's supposed to be 10 hours, but I think I've played more than 10 hours already.
Yeah.
But I really like it. I think you would too since you played 5. It's more of that. It's interesting to see because it's weird to see the continuation of that story. And there was I was reading, there's a part where you go into the bunker where Joseph and you are in at the end of 5. And they're like, you can miss it, but there are like notes around that you can read. They're like, his descent into madness and him being alone there with the deputy, and he's just like, the deputy did this and all this stuff, and just
Far Cry always has hidden a lot of clues within its you just roaming around, and I know they have like those posters you can gather up, and sometimes you look at the post, but like even just like little things, like you'll go into little houses or something, and there's just like random hints of like past things that you're like, oh, I didn't even think about that.
Which overall though, I do enjoy it. I strongly recommend it if you're a fan of the Far Cry franchise, and if not, it's $40. I mean, you're gonna get, if you don't just plow through the story, which honestly I think you won't, there are points you want to because you want to get more characters. Because I only have 3 of the companions out of the 9, I think there are. So, but they're locked until like the second act and the third act.
Yeah.
Because one of them is just like a tank, not a physical tank, but like a tank, like just a heavy. And so like I think they've saved that because if I had that now, I think I could just wreck too much stuff. But
Makes
strongly
sense.
recommend it. I'm trying to think if I did anything else that was in the anime stuff. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, still keeping up with that as it airs weekly. Still really enjoying it. I know
I am on season 4.
you're getting there. You're almost done. You're
Yeah.
almost done.
I was watching quite a bit. I really like the start of season 4 a lot, actually, where they're in Florida.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I actually just rewatched that the other day.
That was so good. I was like, this is almost like a movie, like in its own right, of like these 2 guys just being in witness protection because it's a 3-part thing. I was like, this is a lot of fun. I hope that there's more episodes like that because I'm only on like episode 5 of season 4. Like I just got back to them being back at the 9-9, so I'm like, okay, like I'm enjoying it. It's fun. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is quickly becoming one of my favorite comedies to watch. Maybe by the end of it, I can tell you if I like it more than The Office. I'm strongly leaning towards liking more characters overall in that show than I was The Office. Like, I like almost everybody in The Office, but I feel like they don't do enough with all of them, whereas this show, because they have a smaller cast, even like Scully and Hitchcock have episodes that
Oh
are
my
dedicated
gosh, I
to
love them.
They're so good. They're probably my favorites. Just because of how weird they are. Or the captain, because the captain is loosened up so much from the beginning.
Yeah, he gets better and better as the show progresses.
And I'm like, I love that about him because it shows that he loves them just as much as they love him. Like, I'm like, okay, this is fun. So I could go on and on about Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I will probably wait until I finish at least season 5 because I won't be done with it with season 6 by then, and we can probably go into more detail then.
I did also play Pokemon Ultra Moon. I bought it kind of on a whim
Yeah.
when I bought my 3DS to play Phantom Hourglass. That I then bought Pokemon to play instead. And I mean, it's the opening is a lot faster,
That's good.
and so I was enjoying it, but I haven't had time to like really play it because every time I'm like, I could play that, I'm like, but I could play Far Cry, and so that's kind of just where I want to play more of it. But I do enjoy Ultra Moon. It's a step up,
Yeah.
and all the problems I had with just Moon and Sun, but.
Yeah, I could not get past the tutorial. My DS actually died on me the one time I actually booted up the game. And I was like, I am not sitting through 45 minutes of this again. And I just never played Sun and Moon, which is really bad because I hear it's actually one of the better games. Like, they do a lot of really fun stuff with, like, the Alolan forms and stuff.
Yeah, I
And
think
I'm
it's one of the best ones.
But I'm like, I am not going to sit through learning how to play Pokemon again. It's the same with whenever I want to start up Fire Red or Leaf Green. And I have to do the first battle, and they're trying to tell me how the battling system works, and I'm like, I've played Pokemon before, thank
Yeah.
you. Like, I wish you could just disable the tutorial and be like, I'm an experienced trainer, I know what I'm doing. Like, I guess
Maybe
they do
Gen 8.
that just because they know that kids play it. But I'm just like, guys,
I mean, Pokemon is a kid's game at the end of the day.
well, yeah, it is. Like, we just stuck around.
Right. I mean, it has a deeper mechanic. Like, if you want it to be more competitive, you can make it more
Oh,
competitive.
yeah,
but
there's people out there who are nuts.
base
Like,
game, it's
oh yeah, it's for kids. Like I totally understand that, but I'm like, it'd still be nice for kids who are replaying it to have the option. But what else did you do this week, Brandon? Or are you?
I think that was it. I'm gonna keep thinking about it, though, because I should have taken notes before we started this.
That's my thing, man.
I
I'm
didn't
a
really
tech
get
guy.
to mention it the last podcast, just because. But I've been playing Kingdom Hearts pretty avidly
There
for
you
the past
go.
2 weeks. So this last week I didn't get to play as much. Like the week before I didn't get to talk about it at all. But I played like a crazy amount and so I'm getting pretty close to the end. So like I said, I probably won't talk a lot about it until I finish it, just because of the story aspect. And I'm sure Brandon and I could have a full,
Yeah.
very lengthy
I tell you what, when
conversation
when you're done, let me know, and you guys can just take that Sunday to just talk all things Kingdom Hearts, because I know that that's going to be like a huge topic.
I mean, I want to, but I also wouldn't want to ruin it for people. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I get that, but like if you don't have to go into spoilers or anything, but like I think you two being able to talk about Kingdom Hearts as a whole, just as an episode, would be really fun.
where are you at currently?
I'm just I just am like at the very end of the Pirates of the Caribbean. So.
Oh, you're actually not too far then, from what I understand.
I would say 8 more hours, depending on
Yeah.
what level you are.
For Kingdom Hearts, it's pretty good.
I should finish this week. Is my
Just so
goal.
you know, when you beat San Francisco, which will be your next level, you have a full hour of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
So,
Which, I know there's a lot more fill-in stuff than I think there is, like when you're going through each deal. So, but so far I really enjoyed it. I for not getting to play that much Kingdom Hearts in a long time, it brought back some like my old childhood memories of it. Because I didn't remember like a crazy amount like some people.
I just watch a lot of videos.
And so but it's been fun. I like the Toy Story world. I thought it was a little repetitive. And,
Yeah. It's fun when Woody is like, no one loved you and all that stuff. Wrecks
I
it.
was gonna mention that last week, but that was probably like the most emotional I've gotten into a game in a long time, just because of that his whole thing with Buzz. They went on to.
I almost wanted to throw the controller and be like, shots fired, and just like run around the room. Yeah, my favorite is the Caribbean world, just because it's like almost a different game.
No, it is. When I first start, like the animation and everything is just a whole different. And I mean, I get it's different worlds and stuff. Frozen's World, whatever it's called, Anna or.
I heard that one was pretty rough.
That was
Arendelle.
that was a grind of just trying to get through that.
It's not the worst Kingdom Hearts world, just for the record,
Yeah.
but it was. You knew that Disney had a hand. They were like, hey, you can do whatever you want with the rest of these. They're like, we have some things we want with this. The real problem with it is you have to go up the mountain, fall down the mountain, go back up the mountain, fall back down the mountain. And it's
Oh,
like,
dear God.
Well, and that was kind of with the Toy Story world, because you have to keep on rescuing.
Yeah,
and
you're
you keep
stuck
on,
in that
and you keep
stupid-
on, and you keep on going back up. And I'm not going to try to ruin anything, but you're like, okay, dude, why did you just do that?
Yeah.
And then you have to go through the whole thing again, and you're like,
The only advantage to the Toy Story world
I just
is I thought
enjoyed the world.
Yeah,
more.
the world
Yeah.
was filled with stuff where Arendelle wasn't. It's very
Yeah,
bland.
it's just trees and
It's
snow.
trees and snow. Yeah, where at least like.
Well, you get to the point, because I like try to fight everything,
Oh, I did too.
and then through that Frozen world. And when I had to go back up again, I'm like, screw it. And I'm just
Yeah.
like passing them.
I was
don't
like
even
casting
care.
the fire
Yeah.
magic and then just
Yeah.
running. I
And
was
I'm
like,
just
if this kills
sprinting
something, I was
through
like, it
this.
kills something.
Yeah, I was just done with that. So, but for the most part, I love just going to see the worlds and stuff and just enjoying it. But I think the Toy Story one's the one that got me emotionally, but also the world itself is just kind of a lot more active, and there's just a lot more little things that I don't know, kind of little things that are cool. When this is not a huge spoiler, but like whenever they like the ball pit area and stuff, I thought that was just even walking through the ball pit and it's like everything reacting to every single thing
you
do.
can tell that this game has been in development for a long time.
Yeah, and there has not been a single glitch or any issues with motion or anything that I have been able to tell.
I had no problems with the game. It ran smooth.
Yeah.
I'm still super curious what you're gonna, for somebody who's only like watched videos and only played a few of them, what you're gonna be like after you beat San Francisco, because that just jumps straight into like they don't hold your hand anymore. They're just like, this is all the Kingdom Hearts lore, and we're gonna just start dealing with it because it's like an hour of cutscenes / combat battles that is just like things that like I sat there and was like super giddy like the entire. There's a moment which is like the most anime moment, and I was like like the entire time. And it's like, oh, I gotta pick up the controller and actually play.
Yeah.
But
I've listened to quite a bit of the lore, trying to refresh everything. So I'm pretty confident. Everything that has been mentioned so far, I've picked up on for the most part. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of little like characters and stuff that came back there. I won't spoil anything.
yeah, there's a lot.
There's one kind of major character that kind of came back, and you're like, oh, okay.
Right, you'd have seen.
Yeah, and so I caught that, but had to like refresh my memory because I'm like, I kind of remember this, but I kind of don't. So, and that's what you get with a franchise that is so big and so it's been around for so long.
Right,
too.
and I'm glad it doesn't hold your hand. I'm glad we were at the point where this is not made for the casual. This is made for the fans. Like,
yeah. Which it gets me more excited for it because I'm like anticipating the next thing. You're really more embracing the story than just playing it, which I can be really bad about playing where I'm just trying to look at the dynamic of the game and enjoying the game for itself. But whenever I get embedded into the story itself and I enjoy and really appreciate the story, that's when the game really comes to life for me.
Yeah.
Which most people would say that, but I just don't. Some stories just don't capture me as much. But I think with the childhood mixed in with it, and then just the storytelling itself, and you can see these characters kind of develop and figure out things as they go and stuff. And I mean, it's like you have Goofy and Donald with you the whole time, and they're jokes and stuff that they say throughout the thing.
I think there are some ingredients over here.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, literally, I've heard that like at least a couple thousand times.
Oh,
probably,
it does
so.
not get any better.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna drop a truth or a little tidbit. So according to the president of Pixar, the Monsters Inc. and Toy Story World are canon to their own universes. So that means that in whatever the 3-4 movies of Toy Story, that this event with Sora and them showing up actually happened. That's why those stories are not the same as the movies. Pixar said whatever you make will be part of our canon.
That's just so
that's
bizarre
really,
to me. That's
So that means when Boo shows up, when you see Boo in Monsters Inc., that is actually like what's happened post Monsters Inc. 1. Which that ending scene of Monsters Inc. when they're opening all the doors, I was like losing it.
Yeah. So
But
that's
just thought that was something interesting. I heard them talk about that. And I was
Toy
like,
Story
huh.
thing would be kind of interesting. I guess that would have. Well, we don't know what Toy Story 4 has.
Right, and I mean there were years between 2 and 3, so I mean that's a whole gap of like at least 10 years, maybe 8 to 10 years that you have time to be like, yeah, sure, this event happened.
Yeah, it's kind of whatever. So, I mean, they can do whatever they want. So, but I've so far I've enjoyed it. I hope I can say I've beat it by the time next week rolls around. Let's see. I'm trying to think of kind of 2 weeks because I didn't really get to talk too much about the week before. I've been watching all the Mission Impossible movies.
Oh, there you go.
I've just been kind of going through the whole series on there. I've watched them plentiful of times, but I just started watching them. I've been watching The Office. I've made it to the 3rd season. I've been binge watching that, so I'll watch about 3 to 4 episodes a day at least. So, the first couple of days I watched a lot more than that, but
That's fair.
I've been really busy this week. As it seems like I always say, oh, next week will be not that busy, and then it always is. But that's life. But I bought a Forza steering wheel. Not a Forza steering wheel, but I bought a whole steering set where you could play Forza on, which I know you guys would probably never do that. But it was kind of interesting. I had it set up in my living room. Yeah.
Well, I'll be playing Forza on the Switch. Anyway.
But that was I've never had a racing setup in my living room. I didn't like it because I didn't get a manual, and I drive a manual just in general, so it's a little different, but it was okay.
That's weird. That's weird that it's not.
Well, I got the $99 version at Walmart, so I didn't get this like hardcore set.
No. Well, I figured you just throw your couch out the window and then just build like those like huge metal
Put the
crates
actual
that
car
have the
in
car
your-
seat.
No, where they have the motion control, that's like my dream thing. Like, I will buy that one day when I have $5,000 or $10,000 to spend.
We can just build one. You can pay Zach to stand in your lift up your chair and move you around.
I'm not strong enough to do that.
Well, that'll be part of being paid. You'll have to go to the gym every day.
No.
Well,
Yeah, we're going to have to look other ways then.
yeah, it looks like he's fired.
Okay, that's fine.
But, so that was interesting. I love driving in general, so getting to crash cars. I will say it's a lot harder than it looks on the steering wheel. But
Oh, yeah, one of the old churches we went to had a setup where it was like the 4 Xboxes that were all linked together and had the steering wheels and stuff, and I was like, I hate this.
Yeah. And it's also very uncomfortable unless you find the exact right size of table that fits with you on the thing. Because I had a whole bunch of shelves stacked up to try to go even with me, but I still didn't feel comfortable, so I was like kind of leaning over my steering wheel, and I don't know. And then you have to think about like where your pedals are going to go, and it was just kind of weird. But it was kind of cool. I wish they had a VR set with it, and you could look around like your car, which
So-
I've heard that they've talked about this, but
So Drive Club actually lets you do that.
VR.
For PlayStation 4 Drive Club VR, if you have the PlayStation 4 set up, you can set up the steering wheel and everything and play like you're in your car.
That would be cool.
Which some people have said is the trippiest thing they've ever done.
Yeah, because your motion, you're going so fast in the game, you'd actually feel like you're on it. So I thought about that. So I guess my multi-million-dollar idea has already been taken. So but rats. And then I've watched The Office several times, but I don't know. I just need something.
You know, that's what I do with
Jim
Brooklyn.
and Pam's love right now are like I'm going through the thing where they're not like together or anything, but they're
Oh yeah,
you're like
before.
at the Karen stuff, yeah.
yeah. I was in whatever the episode was where he actually told her that he's not going to be at the wedding and all that and
Oh yeah.
blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, heart gets to you a little bit. Games wise, besides playing Forza for just a little bit, Hearthstone, whatever. Been playing that a little bit, and then Kingdom Hearts all the way, basically. I do want to play Apex Legends,
Yeah, I've been.
keep
meaning-
hearing
I have
actually
it.
I have
really
it
good things.
downloaded.
I do too.
but I wanted to have said that I played that a little bit because the hype is hardcore right now.
Yeah.
So while you're talking about that, this month somebody did the math since Apex Legends dropped, and Fortnite has lost 48% of revenue and players because of Apex and Tetris 99.
Tetris 99.
So
People just love the battle royale trend.
really Apex, but because of Apex,
no.
it lost
Tetris
that
99.
much percentage of.
Now the free games for PSN this month was it Battle crap. Now I'm trying to think of the game, but I've never actually played it. I've seen it, but I'm also gonna play that. Nah, I'm just went blank.
The free PlayStation Plus game.
Yes.
Oh, hey. It's one of my friends just beat Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh.
He definitely just snapped me a picture of the ending because we've been talking about it, so I will not open that until afterwards.
See me
PlayStation.
just are freaking out.
He's like, what is
Hits
this?
Hitman and For Honor.
For Honor.
For
yeah.
Honor is free?
Mhm.
I'm going to have to get that and try
I think
it.
I have both.
And I've always wanted to play the Hitman series, and this one's the episode deal, right?
This
Yeah.
is the complete first season.
Yeah.
You should get it. It's fun.
Yep.
Hitman is really good.
That's a game that I
Why don't I have
would easily watch.
Did not mean to close it.
Watch and play.
Hitman is one of those games that they just kind of throw you in some really big open world, and it's like, figure out how you're going to kill this person.
Mm-hmm.
There's hundreds of different things you
Yeah.
can do.
Those are games that are really intriguing.
Yeah,
though.
some of my...
Can be very
I'm
frustrating.
a
Oh,
big
yeah.
fan of Team 4-Star's gaming channel, and their stuff that they do with the Hitman series is hilarious.
Mhm.
Like, if you ever get the chance, check it out. Like, they have, 20-minute videos or whatever of them all just trying to kill a guy in a different way, and things go horribly wrong almost 90% of the time. And I'm
Do you
like,
guys remember that stick figure assassination?
Oh my gosh.
Game.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Which
I didn't
one?
download Hitman, but I downloaded For Honor. That was mine.
but yeah, no. Like,
I remember, and you'd have to sneak around, and you had your your little
Yeah,
stick
it was
person
the
would-
browser game, right? Where
Yeah. I just remember always making a mistake or whatever, and it just went downhill.
yep.
But that's pretty much. There's definitely some other things I did, and I just can't remember at this point. But
Yeah.
that's kind of my summary.
Okay. Well, for me, movies-wise, I watched Captain America Civil War this week. I was just on Netflix, and I was like, oh, hey, I'll put this on. I was trying to fall asleep, and I didn't fall asleep. I watched the whole film, which was a good thing, because
Of all the movies that you could have put to fall asleep to, that was the one.
Well, the next movie he put on to fall asleep to.
was Phantom Menace. That worked. I watched both of those in the same night. Yeah, no, I was like, oh, I'll put on Captain America Civil War just because, I've been trying to watch some of the MCU movies just in preparation for both Captain Marvel and
Yeah, I need to
Endgame
start.
coming out.
I need to start watching
And
some
I'm
for
just
Endgame.
I'm just like, okay, I just will pull a random Marvel movie off of my shelf, and I'm like, oh, this is what I'm watching tonight. Okay, and it was Civil War. I thought I grabbed Winter Soldier. I was like, no, I can't do that to Winter Soldier. But I've seen Civil War so many times since it was on Netflix that I'm like, I can probably recite full scenes of this movie now.
Mhm.
The scene where Tony meets Peter Parker. I love that scene. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie, next to the final fight and the airport battle. Basically, the fight.
How many MCU movies are there now?
20, 22?
Oh,
Well,
I think there'll be 22 with
in-game.
in-game.
Yeah.
okay. For some reason, I was
Because
thinking
20 was
30.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, because it was
Yeah.
funny because, what was it, 10
Yeah.
was Ant-Man and 20 was Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Right.
So we have
So like every 10 films
Little
we're getting Ant-Man.
less than 2 months.
Uh,
Month and a half. Yeah.
For
we will
Endgame.
see it in 62 days.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It'll be 2
about
months
2
and 1 day. So
Okay. So we got time to watch them all.
Yeah, I think actually if you watch one a week, you can actually watch all of them. I think at this point, I think this is the week where you can do that. If you start from the very
What?
beginning.
no,
No,
we're
yeah.
too far.
We're too far?
It's
It's
8
only
weeks.
8 weeks.
Right.
So
No, there's 20 films.
I think you said 1 a week.
Yeah, I heard one
Yeah.
a week.
So if you watched one movie a week,
That'd
that's
be 8.
20. Wait, yeah.
I like how you were so stern on that because you're like, no, it's right. 8 weeks.
Okay, yeah.
So if
I
you
don't
watch
know
2.5,
Yeah.
Okay, if you watch 3 films.
yeah, 3 films, you'll be fine. They'll be
Well, you'll be at 21 films you'll need to watch before.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Captain Marvel doesn't really count because everybody's going to see that. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I already talked about Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and our opening was Fighting with My Family, so I'll skip that. What all I played this week? I played some more Smash Ultimate.
Yeah, it was fun to play with some others to get a better feel for Piranha Plant.
Yeah. I actually really want to do that because I haven't played with others as Piranha Plant yet.
You did. We played together.
That wasn't this week. That was like 2 weeks ago.
It was last Sunday, wasn't it?
No, I don't think so.
It was last. Yes. It was last
Oh, wait,
Sunday.
wait.
It was a
Yeah,
week
okay.
ago. We all were there.
That's right. Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm
Zach's over here
flustered.
having a stroke.
I'm flustered, okay? I'm nervous. I played Fallout 3, actually, instead of Fallout New Vegas. There's a YouTube channel called Oxhorn that I follow, and he does a bunch of Fallout lore and things like that. And he's doing a video series on the main story of Fallout 3, and I was like, that sounds fun. I'm going to play this. And I forgot how good Fallout 3's actual story is. I love your dad, who's voiced by Liam Neeson, and like the whole point of the game is to purify irradiated water in the wasteland and give everybody water so that they all have something to drink. And I'm like, that's actually a really meaningful cause. I like this. I forgot how much I like Fallout 3 in terms of a story. I still think New Vegas plays better and looks better, but 3 is really good, and I hope that it gets a re-release, probably on the Switch.
So there's a rumor, and you
I
probably bringing
think
this
it
up
will
because
probably-
we're.
Yeah,
So,
we're going to talk about
on-
Nintendo stuff later.
Well, I'm gonna touch it real quick because it might
Yeah,
not be
sure.
Nintendo. So I don't know if you've noticed or if you kept up with it. Randomly the other day, 3 Bethesda games
Right.
appeared on Amazon, and all of them have countdown timers on them.
And
But,
no
I
one
mean,
knows what they are.
yeah, there's a symbol that appears in one of them, but no one can figure it out. Everyone thinks it's Elder Scrolls Online and then 2 other things. So the bet is like probably a Fallout 3 remaster and maybe 4 New Vegas for like Switch and other
I can
things.
easily see 4 going.
I can
The
see
remaster on the 3 would be maybe a little bit of a stretch potentially.
Maybe I think 3 is more likely because you can
Because
put it
it's-
on every console,
Right,
And,
and
then
it's a-
instead of just a Switch.
Yeah.
But who knows? Honestly, it could be a million things because Bethesda's got it's Fallout 77, which is just it's like, hey, we fixed everything in 76, and here's a different game.
Oh, Fallout
Plus
77?
1.
I think Vault 77 actually, it's either Vault 75 or Vault 77. And the story and experiment of that vault was actually one man was locked in a vault with nothing but a box of puppets. And he goes crazy and he escapes and he goes on a massive killing spree. Like, he's locked in the vault for, I think, like, so long. Like, I think, like, at least a decade. And all he has to talk to are these three puppets. And one of them is the Vault Boy, like, and he starts talking to it and he goes crazy.
Oh jeez.
The story is actually really good. You can look it up on YouTube. It's really fun. There's a whole lot of wacky stuff in Fallout that I love. But yeah, I played some Fallout 3, and then I started it. I started Duke Nukem Forever. Let me tell you something. I will probably not beat that game just because of how angry I was playing it. I played like the first 20 minutes and like there was so many glitches. There was so many moments where like I would clip through things that I wasn't supposed to and I would have to reload. Like that is an unfinished mangled mess of a game.
But
it's,
you love it.
No. No. We do not love Duke Nukem Forever. It was so bad because I booted it up to see like if I could have actually potentially streamed it. And I was like, this is terrible.
Zach was worried he was going to get too mad on stream, so he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, pretty much. I actually was looking at the game and I was thinking, what the F is this? Like, the game literally starts with Duke pissing in a urinal, and he actually scoops a piece of like poop out of the urinal and he throws it away. And I'm like, this is like a metaphor for the game. Like, it's bad. It's a bad game.
It's okay. You don't have to talk about it anymore.
Like, I would rather play this.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. Madagascar's also out of here.
Okay.
It's hidden.
Good.
That was actually
It's gone.
that was pretty
It's
impressive.
gone. Okay.
Well, we
Anyway,
won't find that for a few months.
So is that all your stuff you...
that's pretty much all the stuff I have. I wanted to just quickly say Chris Hemsworth is going to play Hulk Hogan, apparently. And I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah. It's for a biopic or something. We're still not sure what... We probably should have looked it up.
I don't know, but
What
like...
company
I
was
think
doing
I actually
it?
saw it on Twitter the other day.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was all over the
seeing
place.
I've been seeing it everywhere. And I'm just like... Chris Hemsworth has the right body type, but I don't know if he has the right character / persona for somebody as larger than life as Hulk Hogan.
Hulk.
Because
I'm
like...
going to Google it and see who's doing it.
Somebody said this to me the other day in a wrestling group that I'm in, and I think they summed it up perfectly. They're like, just about anybody can impersonate Hulk Hogan, but there is only one Hulk Hogan. And I was like, that's entirely true. Like, there's been countless other wrestlers
Time to
even...
eat your vitamins and
like-
say your prayers.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something, brother. But yeah, no, I figured I could talk about that really quick because Chris Hemsworth is in Marvel, nerdy stuff. Like...
I think it's on Netflix, but I'm really...
It might be. Like,
I'm
we
really
don't know a whole lot of
confused.
details. All that really came out was Chris Hemsworth will play Hulk Hogan
Well,
in something.
And the director of Spotlight
Right.
looks like he's doing it, which means it'll probably be a phenomenal movie.
Right.
Whether we agree on how it portrays Hulk.
I think that if they focus on his behind-the-scenes stuff rather than his actual wrestling career, it could be so good that people would think it would deserve a Best Picture nomination. Because there's so much about Hulk Hogan's, like, behind-the-scenes stuff, like, and just all the history there of, like, the WWF going to trial for steroids, and he was the key witness against them in another company, and he actually told the truth, and the federal government's whole case against them collapsed. Like, that was a big moment. The fact that he lied to the public about using steroids when... all the other people were telling him just be honest with them. Like when you were taking them, they were legal because this was before like 1990. There's a whole lot of stuff that they could do. I think Chris Hemsworth is a good actor, but I don't know if they should go into the whole stuff that like Hulk Hogan did inside the ring. If they focus on his relationship with like Vince McMahon behind the scenes, him playing politics to screw over better wrestlers than him, and, like, really getting us into the mindset of the paranoia that Hogan had and, like, trying to be, like, the top guy for as long as he was and all the different things he would try to do to just keep his spotlight. I think that would be a more interesting film than just him beating everybody in the ring because Hogan rarely lost a match. So it's like, okay.
Here's what I think it really came down to, and maybe you maybe agree with me on this, is Chris Hemsworth is a name that people know.
Right.
Yeah.
And so... For me, if you were like, hey, making a Hulk Hogan movie,
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, okay. When you're like, hey, Chris Hemsworth is starring, I'm like, okay, maybe I will watch this.
That's kind of the catch. Like,
I feel like they're
obviously
going to have to
Brandon
do
and I
a
are not
lot of
WWE
makeup for him.
fans,
'Cause, like,
but like I know who Hulk Hogan
Right,
is.
I'm just
I
like-
watched him when I was like younger. When I watched WWE a little
Yeah.
bit, I watched, and then I think it was like Next. Like I watched like a lot of the
NXT.
or NXT or whatever.
Yeah.
But it like I remember watching some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But
For me,
if
I'm
you
like,
if
he
you want a big
doesn't-
name
Right.
to get more people involved with it,
Yeah.
especially if you're wanting more people to be interested in
I just feel like they're
just
going to have
this
to
movie
do.
is going
They're
on
going to have
now.
to do a lot more than just have a big name for somebody like Hulk Hogan because there's so much history behind it, and I feel like the big core audience is going to know a lot of this stuff. It's a lot like how when Bohemian Rhapsody came out, a lot of Queen fans were like, they were either 50-50 on it. They either really, really liked the movie, or they were like, there's some historical stuff here that's inaccurate that I'm not too fond of. And I'm like, if you do that with Hulk Hogan, people will turn on your film, like, immediately. It doesn't matter who's playing the character.
Right, I think that just comes with any biopic that
Yeah.
you come at. Because, like, like Bohemian Rhapsody, I know a bunch of people who are mad because, like, the band never broke up.
Yeah.
Freddie didn't tell anybody about his AIDS until, like
Way later.
months before he died.
Yeah.
Like, none of the band didn't know about it before Live Aid. Like, that wasn't a thing. Like,
that wasn't a thing.
There's
like,
a lot of things that happen in it because they want the emotion
Right.
of
So
the
I'm
hit.
just like, I'm a big historically accurate person. I like it when movies are accurate. And for me, I'm like, if you're doing Chris Hemsworth just to give us a spectacle with a good actor, I don't know if it's going to be as good as it potentially could be, which is what I'm kind of worried about looking at it. It's nothing against Chris Hemsworth as an actor. I like him.
This is an interesting announcement, though, with that movie, the other
Right, with
WWE
Fighting With My
coming out.
Family
Yes.
just now coming out, now they're talking about how they're going to do a Hulk Hogan movie.
Kind of do you think is WWE just doing that purposefully, like to?
It might be writing the...
See, I don't know, because WWE doesn't have the best relationship with Hulk Hogan right now. You know, with, like, all the stuff that came out about him with, like, his racist comments a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They, like, blackballed him. Like, they were, like, they removed his webpage from, like, the Hall of Fame and all this other stuff. So it's, like, I don't know, because he did recently appear on WWE when Mean Gene Okerlund died. And he came out and he paid tribute to him, but, like, before that, Hogan wasn't mentioned or had any sort of promotion with the WWE for, like, 3.5 years. So, I want to say yeah, probably, but I wouldn't
They
be
could be trying to rebuild him
maybe.
up a little bit.
For me, if this is going to be the start of this, where they're going into, like, pro wrestlers getting their own movies, the one I absolutely want to see is Ric Flair or Andre the Giant. Those two I would really like to see. HBO did a really good documentary on Andre the Giant that I enjoyed. And then the ESPN 30 for 30 on Ric Flair is phenomenal.
Finding an actor to portray Andre the Giant would be a challenge, probably in itself.
Yeah, I think both of those
Well,
would
it's
be...
Peter Dinklage, CG.
Oh, that'd be great.
Just for the irony of it.
Yeah, no. I think Ric Flair would actually be even harder. Like you...
Woo!
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
like that guy.
I can't find somebody to saying that.
No, but like...
This is my tryout for it.
Yes, please do it. I want you to wear the robe, and I want you to come down to, like, the music and everything, and I want you to basically wrestle in 60-minute matches that wear your body out and you turn to drinking and drugs. Please do it. It would be hilarious. Please be that actor.
Well, I don't like this. I don't like what happened
That
there.
just went downhill quick.
His story would be the one that would be the most tragic, like, for people to look at and be like, that would be the one that I would want to see the most. At least of wrestlers that are alive. I could name wrestlers who
Can
are
we just
gone now.
have John Cena do John Cena?
But you'll never see him.
Yeah.
I saw where you were going. I was like,
Yeah.
He had to beat me to the joke, man.
You just hear a voice, and the camera just kind of
you
follows
never saw me
nothing.
coming.
No, here's the thing, man. John Cena is the thing in Bird Box. It's true.
He's the monster.
The people who see him, they go insane or they die.
You should. Here's going to be your goal. You have a week. I need you to re-edit the entire movie of Bird Box. But every scene, it starts playing his music where they're like, see it, and it, like when they die, it needs to be his hand come out and grab them.
I would love that. Oh, I don't have the editing.
Well, you have
to
a
pull
week.
that off. No.
Yeah, 1 week.
Yeah, that's more enough time.
No. I'm sure somebody's actually probably thought of that and they're probably working on it.
The problem is you're assuming. You have to get ahead of the
Yeah,
pack.
No.
Never assume anything.
Let someone take that idea. Like, no, but anyway, I just wanted to touch on that really quick. It was in my notes. I thought it would be fun to mention Chris Hemsworth for a little bit.
So let's do, before we get into our main topic, me and you will finish this up with Anime with the Boys, because you
Yeah.
got caught up on The Promised Neverland.
Yes, I did. And this show gets better with every episode. The last episode that came out this week, where the kids are really finally starting to put in the final phases of their plan.
And they make the deal with the other mom.
Yeah.
They do an information trade where she's like,
Right.
tell me the information about Isabella that I
Right.
need to know, and I'll tell you whatever you want.
And they're both trying to double cross each other, and I love it.
It's a game. Because
Yeah.
Norman and them know a bunch of things, and she's like, they like ask questions, and they don't react the way she thought they would, or
Right.
they should have. And so
Right,
she like,
she was like, "Oh, you didn't touch
Dude,
your ear
yeah,
for
she's
like
like,
the
"You do
tracking
this."
device or anything," and I was like, This is so good. Like, everything about this series is great. Like, the tension is good. The interactions between the characters are good. What's the other kid that knows now? The boy who like went into the office and he found the doll. I know it's Dawn and Gilda. Yeah. When he punched Norman and Ray, I was like, oh dude, like this character I'm really starting to relate to. Like, I'm like, that would be me. I would feel like I'm useless. I can't do anything about this situation. Like, he's the most human one out of the 5 that really know, I think. Like, I would panic. I would, like, not know what to do in a situation where you're being raised essentially on a farm.
Yeah.
Like, for sacrifices or whatever it is they do with these kids. You know, like...
Well, they eat them.
Yeah. But, like, it's like...
Yeah, that was the big twist.
I feel like we're finally at the point where we can talk about that.
So the
It's
big
episode
twist...
7 or 8 that we're on now, right?
7, which we're almost done with season 1. Episode 1, at the end of it, it reveals that they're on a farm, that they're just being harvested for these creatures.
Oh.
And, like... Yeah. It's actually...
I'll get right on the show then.
It's actually really good. The tension and, like, the cat and mouse aspect of this show is so good. Every time I think I'm just now getting to the point where I understand what they're gonna go, where they're gonna go, some other plot twist comes in at the end of an episode. Like, I think it was episode 6 that ended with them in the hidden room, and like they think it's the mom coming in, but then the next episode is just a little kid trying to play hide and seek, and I'm like, they know how to build tension for a show. Like, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat every time because I'm like, the second one of these kids gets caught, they're dead. Like, no matter what. Like, they're going to ship them out or whatever. Like, they're gone.
Since I did say it was 12 episodes, I think I actually can map out where each episode will end for the rest of these. I think I now have a general idea, now that we're this far in, what the big ending to each episode will be. And I'm pretty excited to see... I'm hoping they do this, like, just every year.
Yeah.
Like, we just wait a year. And don't rush us out, because the manga needs time, and actually... The manga, depending on what they decide to do, could be coming to its conclusion.
Oh, really?
I don't know where you go from what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
But if they continue from that, it'll be very interesting to see how much more. Because I think you could do 4 seasons and then probably call it good, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So I also made you watch, which we're going to just lightly touch on this because you didn't get to fully experience it. You need to watch it again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Was Neon Genesis Evangelion 1.11, You Are Not Alone.
Yeah. So, I didn't get it. Like...
Get in the robot.
I can't.
Get in the robot, Shinji.
No.
Get in the stupid robot, Shinji.
I can't. No. Like, that's like 80% of this film. And I'm like...
Burn the table.
I'm like, what?
Just kill yourself.
Like, this kid is such a... I don't like to sound negative, but he whines the entire movie. And I'm like... If I got to get into a giant robot and fight things, I'd be kind of stoked about it. Like,
but what if you fail? All humanity dies.
It's Titanfall.
Then I get to go out like a boss. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. I'm just like, I get how dire the situation is supposed to be and everything, but I'm like, none of the other characters are like you. They all see how dire the situation is, and if they could be in the suit, they would be doing it themselves. Like, and I'm like, I like all the characters minus the main one. Like,
yeah, so the reason he's watching... Yeah, so the reason he's watching this is considered a classic, and until Netflix gets the series up, I wanted him to have a chance to experience it. Now, the first 3 movies cover the entire series, and the movies that followed after the creator got, I think it was like 1.2 million death threats in letters.
Really?
Because the ending is garbage.
Oh.
It's bad, which I think... One day you'll watch it. When it's on Netflix, I'm going to make it a required watch.
Okay.
And you can tell me...
how I feel about it?
Yeah, and then you can watch the movie that he made that was just a giant middle finger to the fans.
Oh.
Because that's how mad he was.
Well, you know what? I haven't watched it yet, but I'm actually going to applaud that guy. You know why? Because sometimes fan bases just get too... Oh, never mind. No, that's bad. But, like...
I just whispered something in his ear that happens in one of the movies, and it's like... Ugh.
But, like, for me, it's like... Sometimes when a fan base gets too rowdy, they need to be put back in check. looking at you, Star Wars fans.
Yeah, we're gonna get a Death and Rebirth Evangelion movie like Star Wars if you don't calm down. But anyway, yeah. So like,
Let's don't bring Star Wars into this.
I had him watch it just because I want
enjoy-
him to experience something that's considered a classic. And honestly, I would not recommend it to people who aren't as you're getting into anime because for whatever reason, so many people are. It's one of those that like I just consider you watch eventually so you can understand where we came from and something that people hold in such high regards.
I really, really liked the ending though.
Yeah.
Like the last 30 minutes of that movie I was really into. But like the beginning was hard for me to focus in on. I really need to go back and rewatch that part because there was some details that I missed that you came into the room and you were like, oh, well, that's why this is this. And I was like, that makes so much more sense. I must have missed that just watching because...
That or I spoiled something way later, and I did not remember when it happened.
They give you so much context so fast, though. Because, as soon as the movie starts, he's pretty much being rushed to go get into,
right. That's
into the
basically the first episode.
And I'm just like... Okay, hold on, slow down. Why are these angels here? Who are they? What are their goals? I don't know, but they're bad. You gotta fight them. And I'm like, okay, they're alien invaders that know stuff related to biblical history.
It's really weird.
They mentioned the Apocrypha and the Dead Sea Scrolls at the end, and they were like, "We'll see you soon." And I'm like, is this supposed to be the actual God? I'm so confused. It's interesting. I like the setup that they give, and I really like this cliffhanger. I'm more excited to see 2.22.
You are no
or whatever.
You cannot advance, and then you are not. Oh gosh, you cannot redo. Those are the three.
So I'm really excited to see what happens next. Now that I've finished that film with the way it ended, I really like the final fight. I guess
2 is much better, but I think that's coming from. I've seen the series, and so coming from me, 2 is it remains elements of the series, retains elements of the series, but also does a bunch of original things.
Yeah.
3 is the same way, where it retains original stuff from the movies that take place after the series, but also has its own thing. It's really weird. I'm gonna be super curious to hear what you think as somebody who only watched the movies. Which the reason why I had him do this is 1, it's easier to access, and 2, the first movie is basically just a retelling of the first 6 episodes, removing any filler.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to this later. I want to wait
right.
and have you watch all 3 and then we talk about it.
That's fine.
Yeah, we gotta get to our main topic here.
I'll save that. So we have 2 big. We're actually really going to spend a lot of time with Nintendo here. I'm going to open with the hot. I want to open with a more positive because I want to end reminiscing because it probably won't take long. But so the big thing is that there's been a lot of reports and rumors, and the only reason anyone even acknowledges this is because two people who have, 1 leaked a lot of Nintendo stuff and 2 was Game Informer, both said that Game Pass is coming to the Switch.
Right. Which means that Microsoft and Nintendo are pretty much partnering.
Yes, so the other thing that was also mentioned in this leak or rumor is that Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori the Will of the Wisp or whatever the sequel is are coming natively, which means they'll be on the eShop for Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm. Which is a big deal.
Right. I'm saying this this doesn't sound... You're like, well, that doesn't matter. Well, it does, because this is the foot in the door to Halo maybe could happen. I think you're making a stretch.
I've seen 3 different articles talking about how Halo could possibly come to the Switch.
Right. So here's the reason why I'm going to bring this up for discussion. I'm going to lay out everything and then we can discuss.
Yeah.
The biggest thing behind this would be that it needs to be streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And in Japan, you can play Resident Evil 7 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey on your Switch through a streaming device or a streaming app. So you could play any of Xbox Game Pass's games through a streaming. So it would be a Wi-Fi only service that, at the end of the day, could have Halo, could have Crackdown 3, could have any of the games on Game Pass. Tomb Raider,
Gears of War, whatever you want, really. Whatever's on Xbox that you can play on Game Pass, which is huge. And then it's well, what about the trade-off for that? What does Microsoft get out of the deal from Nintendo? Yeah. That's where I'm,
You can get a little bit more name recognition out of some of the Xbox exclusive games that, like a Crackdown. Some people don't, I've never even heard of Crackdown. Obviously Halo, but Halo has been kind of out of the works for quite a while. So, and if they decide that they're wanting to get a new Halo game, in the next
Right.
couple of years, which I don't even know. I haven't heard anything in a long time about it. But
Infinite.
well,
yeah, like they have
yeah.
Infinite.
I will. Hold on. So another part of the rumor, I wasn't going to add this because it. So part of the leak was that at E3 they're going to reveal two new Xboxes. One is the streaming box, which we've all heard. The other is disc based, still the box, but it costs way more because that's not how they're
should be
moving.
$100 more. Yeah.
And Halo Infinite will be launch title for both the service and the box.
Right.
So that's
So,
just where we're at.
yeah.
Maybe next year.
And you could get a little bit more hype for that though too.
Yeah.
So I think they're thinking is hey, these games we're not going to make any more money off of them at this point. Let's just get the branding out more and get some of these
Right.
people that have always played just Nintendo games and maybe try to bridge that gap
Right,
a little
because
bit.
all you're
into-
doing is you're introducing your games to a new audience.
Yeah.
Right, and so people discuss, well, they're like, hey, I have this on Game Pass, and I can't play it natively. Well, I want to. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I want to
the
run this at...
Two with this would be is maybe this prevents them from buying an Xbox instead of buying an Xbox.
Well, so that's... Sorry. So that's where somebody I heard debate it was that if, let's say the Xbox 2, I hate that name, but let's say that's the case, is just a $100 box. Well, you could download Halo Infinite so it runs at 4K. I mean, they're like, $100, that's not a crazy investment.
And if that's what they're
Yeah.
going with, for that cheap little deal right there,
Yeah.
and they just stream everything, then that's different. But if it's an
Right.
actual full console, then it's harder for people to probably spend $300 or $400 on
Right,
a
and
console.
I think there will be
so.
both. I think whatever we move towards, there'll be both. And like how I would look at it is, it's more like a Vita, in a way of like Microsoft is never going to make a portable console because Nintendo that market is just
Right. So
You
why not just
can't-
partner with them?
yeah.
Which is so smart. Like
Like Nintendo has not only made one of the best gaming home consoles, but it's a now amazing handheld console.
Right.
Why fight against it and
yeah,
just
you
join
can take
it?
your Switch with you and just go anywhere.
So
like-
part of it would be, I think, is you would have, because they've already confirmed this, is Xbox Live Gold is coming to Switch, and actually next month they're having a full conference to talk about it at GDC.
Yeah.
So let's say you have to pay for Gold as part of getting Game Pass. Like to use Game Pass, you have to
Yeah.
pay like whatever.
Probably $100.
Yeah,
Like-
so if you're tied into that,
Yeah.
then Xbox is still getting their money. And,
Because Nintendo will have to take, I think Nintendo will take like either a percentage of it per one. So
Yeah.
They would
to
have
get
to.
to get the full amount, be like, well, we'll have Gold in exchange. You don't take anything. You take a percentage of Game Pass.
Yeah.
But require them to have both. Granted, that's really scummy, or even like require them to have. The other debate I heard was require them to have Nintendo Online. Like you have to pay the $20 a year, which isn't bad, and
Yeah.
then
Well,
you get Game Pass, and,
And
they don't
probably
take anything
for
from it.
us, we already pay for both, I'm assuming. So, or at least I pay for
I would
pay for
assume
Gold.
most gamers who
I
have
still-
both consoles,
I
they
pay for all
both.
three, so
Yeah.
like I still go. And I just have them renew every year. So
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, so it's like that really doesn't bother me. I will
I
pay
just always forget
whatever.
about it.
Like,
That's why I had to
In
cancel.
January 1st, I'm like,
I had
"Aw."
to cancel it because I was like, this is just taking too much money. But
yeah.
like at the end of the day, I think both those make sense. Granted, then you're like, well, what does Microsoft or Nintendo get? And I think it does become there's got to be some behind the scenes deal
Right.
that we're
I-
just not seeing.
I
I think
that
this is a long term, 5 to 10 year kind of game plan for what they both started talking. Hey, this is what we've got. Obviously, PlayStation 4 compared to the Xbox One, especially the first couple years.
Well, even sales wise, it's not. It's like Xbox or PlayStation's at like almost 90, if not over 90,
Yeah.
and PlayStation or Xbox has only made like under 30 million.
So, and
Yeah.
they had to have looked at those numbers and they go, we got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
We got to,
Yeah.
because this is too big of a drop for us. So
right.
I think
compared
probably
to
back
360
then,
versus PS3.
well, exactly, and when they flipped and everything, so probably a couple years in, they're like, we're not making up, and all these things that we're trying to do, all these promotional, they're just not happening.
Right.
And all the Connect stuff that they did, it was a fail.
Right.
And so when you look at that, they're looking, okay, we've got to get a bigger name in here. We got to get something to save this before it really crashes.
What better than an established name like
Yeah.
Nintendo?
Yeah, both, and this is why I think this is a Sony killer. Not that PlayStation won't always be around because they've got
Right.
great exclusives.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, you can never fully knock PlayStation down.
No, I don't think you can really knock down any of the three
But-
at this point.
I think this is the way that they would have such head and shoulders above. because Xbox made the mistake at the beginning of this generation, and you remember this conference, maybe.
Yeah.
That was the worst press conference I've ever seen.
It was.
When they were like,
Yeah.
$499.99.
I'm pretty sure I was with you when we watched that.
We all watched it because that was the
Yeah.
year everyone was trying to decide between, do I get an Xbox or a PlayStation?
Almost everybody I knew after that conference was like PlayStation.
Yeah, especially PlayStation's conference, where they, one, were $100
We're all-
cheaper.
I mean, we're all poor, especially at that point.
Yeah,
Like, we don't-
you can afford one console.
Yeah.
That was basically
Right.
how we were.
Yeah.
And so, like, I remember that. That was, like, the most, like, the biggest kick in the teeth was, like, watching that conference. I was like, bro, I was like, you're just not, you're stumbling at every turn.
Yeah.
Now, Xbox where they are now, if this was the Xboxes they launched with, I, like, the S, had,
Yeah.
like, the 4K
I
Blu-ray
think you could
player,
argue
was
that-
$300, would have blown
Yeah.
PlayStation out of the water. I think there was no debate on where they are now.
And that's the hard part too, is you don't like financially, like at that time, like with what they had,
Right.
they may have not been able to throw that option out there for whatever reasons behind the scenes.
Right.
So.
I think they.
Yeah.
So what I've heard is they're now selling Xboxes at a loss because the debate of how much people pay for a game has made up the cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
that's also why they're going to the streaming thing, because their
Right.
Xboxes are just costing too much.
Right. Why
so.
why build a $500 console when people aren't buying them?
Yeah.
You know, like why do that when you can build a streaming service which is already popular anyway? Everybody's into streaming and just downloading a game and playing it and doing that on their own. Like even Steam has a Steam box. You know, like why not model ourselves after that, because other companies are already doing it, and just get ahead of it before PlayStation does.
Right, and it's easier to sell
Right.
somebody on a box than it is to be like, hey, you download this to your TV, and they're like, what? Why would I? What?
Yeah.
So like if you're like, hey,
I-
$100, you know, here's a box
Yeah.
we made that just streams it, connects to the internet. As
Yeah.
long as you run an Ethernet cable, it runs
it's like
smooth.
it's like Netflix for games.
Yeah.
Like that's essentially what it is.
Well, if you remember when Netflix first started, you had to have a DVD.
Yeah.
You had to put
Yeah.
that DVD in there. My parents still have the Wii and PlayStation 3 one.
Yeah. Like you still had like that old system, but now like
I just remember when Redbox was like over Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, when Redbox was like the thing, and Netflix
Yeah.
was like this like, stupid thing that no one
Redbox
did.
and Netflix together took down Blockbuster,
Yeah, and
Like,
then now Netflix is just taking everything down.
destroying everything. So it's like, is this a huge turning point for gaming? Like
I think
Microsoft
we're
and
moving that
Nintendo
way.
are coming together to go into a digital type streaming service, and then you can use your Switch to take it portably with you if you want it. I'm just like, the future I think looks bright for gamers, but it does not look good for Sony right now. I think Sony is probably a little terrified.
I think
If they're being realistic, they should be scared.
well, so I think that, but I also think they have made their. So this is what my problem with Sony is right now. Sony is not the Sony that was at PlayStation 3, where they were backed in that corner,
Yeah.
and they're like, they got all their big guns out and they're ready to fight.
Right.
Now they're on top. They're sitting there
Right,
like
they're
head
like,
and
"We're the
shoulders of
king."
everyone.
Right.
Why should we do anything? That's why they've been closing down studios. They've been
Mhm.
like canceling projects left and right. They're like, what's the purpose? Like
Right.
we had what
Now
God of
it's
War
like-
sell like 3 million copies in 3 days. Like
Yeah, who
they
cares?
sit there, yeah.
We release 2 or 3 big games a year, and that's all we got to do.
Yeah, they're sitting.
know?
They are too far high up. They
Mhm.
need to be knocked down. There needs to be. They all need to be competing.
Everybody needs a good kick in the pants. Xbox got that with the 360 console after everything with Xbox One. I feel like
The hard part
the
was,
like when they went from 360 to Xbox One.
Yeah.
I think that we clearly had a victor in terms of PlayStation 4, in terms of sales and just making money.
the bigger thing is we compared Xbox and PS4 or PlayStation
Yeah.
together, not Nintendo.
Well,
But we
Right.
always bring
Yeah.
those two consoles up because Nintendo is almost its own little world.
Right,
Except when it competes with numbers, then
Yeah.
they all three kind of compete against each other
Right.
because maybe I just feel like Nintendo's. Yeah, you have like they get the best of both worlds. 'Cause
Yeah.
you get like the little kids; they're not gonna have maybe an Xbox or
Mhm.
PlayStation, maybe. And Xbox is kind of like the middle ground, and PlayStation is really for the like the gamer.
Yeah.
I feel like, and then family friendly kind of thing. And I think
Yeah.
the harder part is if you get Nintendo and Xbox, which Xbox has always talked about family. It has that family atmosphere that they've tried to create with the Kinect, especially, and just having it when they do their commercials and stuff. They put it in the living room with the whole family kind of gathered around. They still want that, and with the 4K, and when they
Right.
put that into there, where it added a little different. But I think when you add Nintendo into the mix, I think the Nintendo brand sells itself more than the other two combined. I think in my eyes, anyways. So
Yeah, you have young kids and customer loyalty.
yeah, and but like Nintendo in my eyes, they failed with the Wii U. Like
Yeah,
I thought they did.
I would
anyways,
consider
but
that they're probably
Probably
the
their
one
fail.
blemish. Like,
The Virtual Boy is the biggest blemish.
yeah, I guess.
Here's the
that's
thing.
true.
Here's the only thing with the Wii U I will give it. It is financially one of the biggest failures. I will not debate this. Game wise, has some of Nintendo's like pride and joys
Yeah.
on there, but it's the unfortunate thing is it's locked behind a console that isn't good. It's poorly marketed, which sucks because it was called the. If it was literally called anything else, it didn't fine. Like I remember waiting in line for it because like Nintendo always does this thing where they put very limited amount of them out, and this woman was like. She's like, oh, is this just an accessory for the Wii? And we're like, no, it's the second Wii. And she's like, well, why is it not called Wii 2? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I just want to buy the console.
It made no sense to me either when it came out. I was confused at first. I was like, is
Yeah,
this
the reveal trailer D3, they just showed the tablet a bunch. I'm like, so this is an accessory.
Yeah, I didn't even know what exactly
Yeah.
it was. You just didn't hear that much. So, but
Right.
like when the Wii came out,
Oh my god.
everybody knew what that was.
We couldn't find a Wii for
It was
over a year.
Yeah, it was 2 years before they were finally on market that like people
Right,
could get
like
them.
it was like nothing I'd ever seen.
Yeah,
you
those
know.
things retailed at $249.99 and then resell for
like-
$499.99.
Mm-hmm.
I had
People were
friends who
selling
paid
them for-
$500 for a Wii.
Yeah, people were going nuts.
And what's crazy is like if they redid the Wii like for now, I think I would actually buy it. I think.
I think if you took what you've learned from the Wii U and what the Switch is showing you of like games like Zelda and Mario, what the indies, if Nintendo took what they learned now and made the Wii, made it so it has both controller and Joy or Wiimote options, I think
Yeah.
there is that success could be there, and the Switch is being that success too. It's like it's already 33 millions in sales in 2
Right.
years, which is crazy.
Insane.
I think statistically, versus even PlayStation, it's sold more in its lifetime based where PlayStation wasn't at that time.
Right.
So like this could be the next Wii. It's just we don't see that now, but we will when we're done.
Yeah.
Because like the Wii sold 120 million units.
Yeah.
It was all about timing, the
Yeah.
technology that came
Right.
out. and-
Like it was something that was never done before, which is where
there
we're
was a
kind of
lot
at
more
now
hype,
with
yeah.
Microsoft and Nintendo coming together and doing this like Xbox Live Gold on Switch kind of
Yeah.
deal. Do you really think that would have happened 10 years ago? I don't. I'm just like, there is no way Xbox Live would have been like, oh yeah, we need to partner with Nintendo because Sony's over there and they're destroying us right now. No, they were laughing at PlayStation because PlayStation was getting hacked and was down for like 2 months at a time.
I remember that.
I actually almost sold my PlayStation and got an Xbox. I remember that. I was like, this is not worth having if I can't play online with my friends.
That did hurt because I wanted the PlayStation 3 more than I wanted the 360, but
They just kept having so many issues.
I actually had the PlayStation 3 then. I had both. It just took us a while, but because
Right.
Xbox came out of the gate, guns blazing, and that's what
Right,
PlayStation
like,
4 did.
They had like Halo, they had Gears of War, they had all these different titles that like they were like, we're pushing this, we're
Yeah.
pushing hard. And everybody was interested in the Kinect when it first was announced. Everybody was like, oh, this is cute, this is great for kids. Like, that's what they were marketing towards. So now it's like, well, we can do that with Nintendo. We can market towards a loyal fan base. We can market towards our fan base that we have that is all about Xbox because there is still that giant console war thing going on. Now it's like almost a 2 versus 1 scenario in a weird way.
Yeah. This
Like,
could empower Sony a little bit. I'm just kind of thinking through this a little bit. Where
I think this will put them back in a corner next generation to be. Sorry, I'll let you go. Shouldn't have interrupted. You go ahead.
with Sony, where if they just specialize just in the gaming itself, and they make that environment where they specialize in those certain game platforms where it's just for the hardcore gamer. It's who cares about the family or whatever. This is more of like you're focusing on the college age,
Yeah.
high school, some junior high kids, and that's it. And that's what they do. I think they're going to separate that whole Xbox, which Xbox had the middle ground, because you could do both. You could have the
Yeah.
family thing,
Yeah.
but if you wanted to go play some of those bigger games like Call of Duty and stuff, you could focus on that. Whereas I think if Xbox is making this push to get closer to Nintendo, they're getting more on that family-friendly side, where then Sony almost has their own market to themselves. to a certain extent.
Right. So I think, and this is what my two things would be. I think Sony has to now make sure they're about their games, about their exclusive. You can
Yeah.
only play on PlayStation.
Yeah.
I think you see a boom in PlayStation exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
We're like now what was the last exclusive we had on PlayStation?
The last big one I can think of was Marvel Spider-Man.
So we don't have another one.
We have Days Gone,
Gone
in
in
like a few
April.
weeks. Or a month
April,
or so.
it comes out same day as in-game.
Yeah.
So like, let's just assume, I could be wrong, there could be an exclusive.
I can't think of one off the top of my head that I'm like,
Any
I've
big
got to get
names
that.
anyways, yeah.
Yeah. I think you see one every other month. I think Sony cannot be, because here's the thing here's the
Right.
biggest reason why I think they take Xbox, is because then they have that mature audience.
Mm-hmm.
You can be
Yeah.
like, you want to be like, hey, you want a Halo, a Gears, a GTA. Well, you can play that under the Microsoft brand Game Pass instead of Nintendo putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have that Sony needs to focus on both the family friendly. They're starting to cover two grounds instead of one.
Yeah.
I think Sony is at the worst position if this is real.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and this is where it gets interesting, and this is what I heard a debate about. So Microsoft bought all those studios.
Yep.
Was that to buy them for exclusives, or was that to buy them to be a publisher? Because at first you could be like, well, Outer Worlds. This is just the biggest example that
Yeah.
everyone's used. It was already in development pre-buyout.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What if that wasn't the case?
Yeah.
What if, it was in development, but what if there wasn't like a deal for what platform it was going to? Because
Right, because
all
then
that,
they could dictate, well, that's only on Xbox,
yeah.
you know?
I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, Microsoft could have been like, hey, we'll pay out whatever the rights would have been for the other ones.
Right.
But what if,
And then they scoop up all these exclusives that they have for their console.
but what if it's not for their console?
Right.
It's for their streaming platform.
Mm-hmm.
And they already knew, hey, we're going to put these out on everything.
Yeah.
But that was just a test. So like now it'll be like Xbox is streaming and then Switch or something like that.
And they've got all these studios that are developing games for their streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
You basically have created a juggernaut in a streaming service.
Yep.
yeah.
So
If
it's like-
I think if PlayStation sticks with their guns and stays with the gaming, which I know it's kind of disagreeing with you guys, but and they focus just on the games themselves and they figure out a streaming service or something entitled with all that.
I think they will.
I think, and they just focus, on the cool things that they can do with
Yeah.
gamers. And exclusive things, not just the games themselves, but
Yeah.
they really develop something where, like, hardcore gamers are like, dude, this is sick. And they're more competing with maybe the guys that are just playing on computers
Yeah.
compared to, and that's almost its own thing. And then I
I
think they're
think-
going to have a better luck with competition
Yeah.
that way if it really splits 50-50 like that, which I just don't see Xbox going solely with Nintendo on everything. I know
No.
the streaming-
I think whatever their next move is they're no longer an exclusive based console that you could buy it as a brand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe their streaming box works the best, but it's on PC because the video they released a while ago was it's on your phone where you could take Halo. You just put your phone up, you grab the Xbox controller, you're playing Halo on the go.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think that is the case of that. Xbox is moving towards a PC and Switch and having their own box, but it's not their main focus. Their main focus is the service,
Yeah.
which I think we agree on the game part. Like
Yeah.
Sony's gonna, I think Sony ups their gamer.
Oh yeah. They
Like
have
they
to.
they have to. They have no choice. But I think they have to up both markets because they've got to cover ground against two people in the family friendly, or you just abandon that, and you can't do that because most people who buy it, and this is just based on things I've seen and like the sales number, buy it with the intention of that they play, the parents played at night and then their kids play during the day for like Fortnite or Minecraft. But if you don't have that and Nintendo takes that potentially could be millions in sales that we don't know.
Yeah.
And I mean, like statistically, we'll never know.
Right.
And
Until
the
like
thing
they
with technology
have
right
this
now
conference.
is all these new ideas that are happening is new money being created, not existing money being created or existing money moving to somewhere else. This is people going, oh, that's cool. I could throw another $10 in. Or I
Right,
could do that.
like-
So that's new money moving in. So that's just more money that Nintendo and Xbox are creating for themselves.
Right.
Which, if you take that idea and you take the money that Xbox could lose from the gaming its own games, from us buying games and
Yeah.
stuff,
Right.
that money could go to Sony on that aspect. That's why I think maybe it's a little bit of a win-win on
Yeah.
kind of that.
It
because
could be.
You're almost taking a part of the Xbox market out a little bit.
Right.
If this is, and we're assuming a lot with this, because
Yeah.
they could be announcing. But I'm also going to say if Xbox tries to do anything on their own and excludes, I think they've shot themselves in the foot if they're going this way. And then they bring out some other
Yeah.
console cool idea thing on
Mm-hmm.
top of all this. I think it would be too much, and you destroy that market. And they just need to be
Yeah.
very patient if they're going to try to do it like
And I
this,
mean, we've known since last E3 that they're working on some kind of console, and I say this with
Yeah.
air quotes. So like whatever that ends up being, and I mean we won't know. I think by June, I would say by the end of June we will officially know whatever is happening,
E3, yeah.
whether this is real or not, because Nintendo and Microsoft are the only ones going to E3.
Yeah.
Sony skipped E3, so like this is their perfect opportunity to be like, hey, we're having one press conference on stage together.
And that's an interesting strategy
Yeah.
for Sony, because it's like, hey, you guys are kind of doing your own thing, and like, well, we're gonna have our own thing anyway.
Yeah,
so we're
I
not
think
gonna
it shows
compete
the,
against each
I
other.
think it
on
shows the
that.
cockiness because they're like, well, we will win a show. We want a day. We want
Yeah.
our own time, which
Yeah.
makes sense. It does. I get it. But the biggest thing about E3, and this is why people go to it, is because news outlets that don't cover gaming cover E3.
Yeah.
You have so much
Right.
You have so many things get covered there. Like local news stations in the area cover it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so like that's the big thing about E3. So Sony willing to do this means that they're getting ready to drop something this year that's going to be a huge announcement. I think in August we see like whatever the PSX or PlayStation event that shows PS5,
Yeah.
what they're working on. But I think by then everyone's going to have, if they don't, they either need to do it before E3 because they need to get out in front of this. If this is real,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they need to be out before, they need to announce whatever they have before Nintendo and Microsoft. So the consumer mindset is already, hey, I'm buying a PlayStation 5.
Right.
Because if
You want to get
wait,
that anticipation, being like, oh, PlayStation 5 is coming out, I'm getting that.
but if you already have, let's say this gets revealed, the service is amazing. Like let's say it does perfectly run Xbox games on Switch. I bet you every Xbox owner that thought about switching moves to a Switch or gets the streaming box and buys a Switch.
Yeah.
Like the sales, I think for that, because like for me, where Sony is and their attitude and stuff, I'm on the verge of switching to Xbox. But with this, I'd be on the verge of staying with Sony, but keeping my Switch and doing all the Xbox programs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
kind of
which-
where I'm at.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of eliminates part of that market for Xbox
Right.
instantly when you have that. But that's where I think a lot of people will be. That's within our age gap,
Yeah.
and that appreciates both sides of the gaming world probably. So it'll be interesting. We'll find out quite a.
Yeah,
quite
we
a-
have
yeah, we've
3
got a-
months probably
we've got a-
before we really know
yeah.
anything, which
Yeah.
sucks. But
But and what there was interesting, I think it was a tweet maybe from Sony, or they said props to Xbox and Nintendo or something on because first everybody was saying that they didn't say anything, but then I want to say it was their president or something. I want to look this up.
yeah, I would
I-
check that.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up actually.
I would fact check that.
So I have a fun question for you guys. Do you think you see Nintendo characters potentially on Xbox or Xbox characters potentially on Nintendo?
So, are you talking like, you're really just asking me, do I see the fifth slot that no one's really for sure of in Smash being to a Microsoft character?
Maybe. Like, do you think that's possible with this deal?
I think if here are my two
if
sides of
if
it.
it were me, I would say it would be Banjo-Kazooie.
Right, I'd say Banjo, Minecraft Steve. and
Minecraft Steve, I think, might actually happen.
I want to say Master Chief. I really want him there,
That would be so cool, but
but
it's like
I don't know.
I don't see how he fits. Like
Guns. Well, he's Samus. You
I
use
guess,
Snake.
yeah.
You use guns. Launch. You throw grenades. His grenades
Yeah.
can be throwable. His melee is he does the beam sword.
yeah, okay,
I think I actually made the moveset for him.
Yeah.
You just gotta figure it out if you want
right,
it.
but it's just a matter
shield.
of, like,
he like drops down and a bubble shield appears around him and it slowly
Yeah,
comes in.
I guess it's doable, but it's like, would Microsoft be okay with that? Taking Master Chief and putting him in Smash.
Which he would be the first ever Western character to be in it.
Yeah, which would be huge. So to me, I'm like, would they do that, or would they just go with a character that Nintendo fans already know, like Banjo-Kazooie? But no, I mean more specifically, do you think we could potentially even see like an actual physical copy of Halo for Switch? Like, for example, do you
Not
think-
Infinite. I think the.
No, not Infinite, but like maybe Halo 1 or Halo 2.
I
or-
think that's possible. I think the Master Chief Collection is not out of the realm of possibility.
yeah.
People say it
do
is,
too.
but I think that's stupid.
There's no reason why to not port
Yeah.
an older game like that to
I think
another
anything that can
console.
run on 360 can run on Switch.
I think so.
So I think if you were to make, even if you just put the anniversary, put Halo 2 and 3,
Right.
and be like, hey, this
And
is
be like-
the Halo collection. Don't
Yeah.
call it Master Chief.
You can play the Halo series.
Yeah.
You can play Halo 1, 2, 3,
Reach.
ODST, and Reach. Imagine that, being able to take Halo with you on the go. That would be huge for Microsoft.
Yeah, and I've been craving some Halo real bad.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for Infinite. But I agree. I think that's a possibility, but whether or not
we'll
it
have
happens.
to see. Like, I'm just so
I think
intrigued
if
by
we're
this.
sitting down and being realistic, I think the most realistic game is Battletoads. Whatever
Yeah,
the new Battletoads is, I
Battletoads-
think is the most realistic physical
I could see
Switch game.
Battletoads actually even being in this, in Smash.
It's just because I said this.
No, but like we've talked about this before, because Battletoads is having a new game come out.
Yeah, you have the 3 different skins for each one.
Right. Or you can, maybe there's 2 different ones. I don't know. Like, we have no idea what Nintendo's been planning with Microsoft, because this goes back to when they originally announced crossplay, even with like Fortnite and stuff.
Well,
Like,
so there was actually a few articles they could not have any realistic, but they're saying that Xbox is trying to do something with PlayStation with this exact same thing.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
which I think is smart. I think moving forward, that needs to be Game
Right.
Pass needs to be on everything. But
Yeah.
it depends on part of Nintendo's deal. If I were betting on this, would be that Nintendo's like, hey, we want some exclusivity. There's something we're not going to see, and you'll never know about.
Yeah.
Like I think we'll always be behind. We'll never see behind the curtain on that one.
right.
I think it's interesting that Nintendo is reaching or letting this happen a lot more because I've always felt like Nintendo
I think
just
it's-
wanted to be in its own world.
So
kind of thing, too.
here's where we come to this, and this is what's going to lead us into our final part.
Mm-hmm.
One, and this is not me being like, this is in no way trying to be negative towards Iwata, but I
Yeah.
think after Iwata's passing, we had a new president with that fresh blood in there.
Yeah.
I think we saw Nintendo take different steps
Yeah, I agree.
because I think Iwata helped build the Switch, but I don't remember the new president's name, has helped guide it to what he thinks is the best option.
Right.
And with Reggie leaving, I think that's what Bowser, I'm just going to be so hard, with Bowser having to do is keep that momentum going of what they've started. With all that being said, I think the new presidency, the new fresh blood has made this Nintendo, this wild and weird and crazy one that's doing all this stuff. I think that's the reason. Is
Right.
because we're
We've
not
got
stuck
new
in the
people in
Wii and
there.
Wii U era anymore.
Yeah.
Which I love Iwata. He's done amazing stuff. He's made amazing games, and he's probably
a huge part of my childhood.
he is the reason Nintendo is Nintendo. He's the
Yeah.
reason you know about the Wii, and him. Same thing with Reggie. They are the reasons you know about the Wii and the DS and the 3DS. They're the reasons they've sold in between those 3 consoles alone, 250 million consoles. Like, he's the reason you know their name. But there's always time where you get stuck in the past, and I think this moving forward with Bowser and whatever the new president's name is for the main Nintendo is the reason we're getting all this weird stuff, and the reason they're taking this direction that I would have never predicted.
Yeah.
I'd have never in a million years said that Nintendo abandons their home console and their handheld to have one. I never would have said in a million years that Xbox would ever consider being on a Nintendo console, let alone sharing a service like that.
Yeah.
Because I think this is what blows my mind. Before I move into this, Xbox had set themselves up to go to E3 and knock it out of the park and beat Sony to death. Beat the PlayStation to death with whatever they announced because they bought 7 new studios.
Yep.
Actually, I think it was 9 total now.
Something like that.
9
it was a
studios
lot.
that are make games that people consider 10s. Walk in there, be like, hey, we have a $100 box, a $300 game console that runs better than anything else on the market. We have 10 brand new IPs coming. We have Game Pass, which will be combined with Xbox Gold, $15 a month. Walk out, be like, you don't ever have to buy a physical game again. And just, boom, right there, you knocked it out. And Sony could only, as much as I want to be like, Sony could walk in and show some exclusives, that's cool, but Microsoft will always have that.
Yeah.
And that's what blows my mind, because they could have, I mean, they still can walk in E3 and do that, but walking into this is not the same scenario anymore, and I have no idea what to expect the rest of this year. But I tangented there a little bit. So Reggie, the biggest reason is Reggie has resigned.
Yeah.
Effective April 15th this year. He's leaving to be with his family, so he's not being fired or anything. He left on his own accord. There's a lot of rumors, speculation he's going to Google because Google is getting ready to start their streaming box.
Yeah.
I think the timing kind of works out. I wouldn't bet on it. I think he really does just want time alone because Nintendo's made him a million almost.
More than enough.
Yeah, I'd say millions, if not almost, probably close to a billion based on his just his history there and how much he's probably made. I mean, him alone, he just gets to retire and have fun. But I brought this up because at first when the news dropped, I was like, this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's unfortunate. Reggie is stepping down, but I bet you two, if you two had the same reaction, I'd be impressed, or I wouldn't be surprised, I guess. But when they did the video, or when Reggie did his video, did you see that video?
Yes, I did.
It finally fully hit me on, hey, this man is stepping down.
Right,
And when at the end of it, when he's like, I'm losing my most important title of President of Nintendo America, but I'm keeping the greatest title Nintendo fan. And I actually started tearing up in my car, and I was like, dude, you can't do this to me right now.
Yeah, no, like, he's been such a huge part of Nintendo. Like, everything that we were talking about with him and Iwata, like, it's almost like the end of an era of Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. We're moving to the next generation.
Right. Like, our generation is, like, past us now. Like, we know when it ends. Like,
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm happy that he gets to move on.
I'm happy he gets to leave on his own terms.
Right. Like, he's not being forced out or anything.
Or health, or...
Right.
This is a good time to leave if you're going to. If you really don't
Right.
want to go a long time. If
Right,
This is,
like,
if
this
it-
is a good
This is a
time
really big
because-
generation gap. You know?
Because there's also this huge transition of everything that Microsoft and Nintendo are doing. So it's like, maybe he doesn't necessarily see it the same way, and he's like, well, then I can just exit gracefully, and they can
do what they,
they can
want
do
to
what
do.
they
Or
do.
my other thought would be that he sees that this is going to run smooth. It'll be perfect. They've already
Right.
got it set up.
Mhm.
This is my time to go while
Right.
Nintendo can take a lead.
Right.
Nintendo here would be, if all this turns out to be true and Reggie's had a hand in all of it,
Mm-hmm.
this could be like, hey, Nintendo's about to be at its height. Like, there will be,
That is his legacy.
yeah, there will be, like, it'll be hard to knock this down.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, I'll
You
leave
could also
now.
look at it a complete opposite.
Yeah, I know.
and
There's
go-
both sides.
they're
Like,
like,
he could be
hey,
like,
he's like seeing this come together, and he goes, I'm wanting
I don't
to get
want
out of
anything
this.
to do
with
Yeah,
this,
I want
or-
my legacy to be
Yeah. But
that
I-
everything was going well.
I do think if it was the crash and burn, Reggie wouldn't have left. That
Yeah, Reggie
just
would've
based on
stayed
everything
through.
I've heard about Reggie in his life,
Mhm.
I think he would have stayed and been like, "Well, we're gonna fix this and do this." But I really just want to talk about him because he has shaped a huge part of my childhood.
Yeah, I
I
mean-
still think about the video in
Yeah.
2004 when he walked out in the E3 press conference when they introduced him. And we
Yeah.
talked about this before the podcast, so I won't say exactly what he said. But he's like, "I'm about taking names, about kicking butt, and we're about making games."
Yep.
Cuts to black. Twilight Princess shows on stage. Crowd erupts.
Yep, I
And,
remember
like,
that.
for
I
me-
remember just getting so excited. I was
Mhm.
like, "There's a new Zelda game."
Yeah.
Like, and it was the last game for GameCube.
It was
And
the
it was
last
a launch
GameCube.
title
It was
for
the
Wii.
era between the two.
Mm-hmm.
But that was in 2004 when he walked on stage.
Yeah, and they announced it, and the game came out in 2006.
Yeah, 2 years later he was president of Nintendo
Yep.
America.
It's crazy to think that that man has been with Nintendo for 15 years. Like, I mean, like, I don't know where we would be without Reggie for Nintendo of America. All the, like, press conferences that he helped with,
Mhm.
all the E3s and everything that he's helped with, you know, like, just everything in general. It's like,
The Reginator.
The
There's
Reginator,
all the directs.
my body is ready.
Yeah.
He even
Reggie.
mentioned the Reginator
Yeah.
in that video.
Yeah.
That's his, I guess that's their favorite in joke in the studio is
Right, like, there's just so much about him. He embraced the fans, you know, like,
because he was a fan.
he was a fan.
Yeah.
So it's like, I love that, like, he gets to leave on his own terms and he gets to leave happy.
Mhm.
You know, like, he gets to willingly step down.
And it's so rare to have presidents of big corporations
Mhm.
like that to get to leave on their own
Yeah.
terms
Right.
that way.
And he also has held this position for a long time.
13 years.
Yeah, for president, which is quite a while. And I'm excited. Like, I like to believe that he had a huge hand in picking his replacement.
Oh, I think he did because Doug Bowser is VP of Nintendo America.
Right.
And he talked about him some in that
Yeah.
video.
Well, and
too.
so if you
Yeah.
look into Doug Bowser's history outside of EA, which I get, people are like very scared about. Let's just calm down. Doug Bowser, I talked about, had played so much Donkey Kong, the
Right.
arcade machine, that he that was the reason he got into gaming.
Right. Like,
And so everybody
he's a Nintendo
holds,
fan at heart.
yeah, everybody holds Nintendo near and dear. Like,
Right. And I love that he's already embracing, like,
yeah, the thank you for welcoming. I don't know if you've seen this picture. One of his, I don't know if it's his first picture ever at Nintendo or his recent picture. And the background, it says thank you for welcoming me. He's holding up a sign, and then it's got Mario and Luigi tied up in the back. And so,
I just love that, like, now in a weird, like, meme sense, whenever things go wrong, we can blame Bowser.
Yeah, I know.
It's-
His
it's-
name is just the funniest thing.
Right,
on
it's
this
just
list.
so
And then,
ironic, and I
yeah.
love it. I'm like, we can be like, oh, this is Bowser's fault.
yeah.
At
Thanks,
first,
Bowser.
I thought there was too much of a coincidence for this to happen. That I thought there was like some weird correlation with like him being away in the past or something.
Oh, I thought it was a joke because it was like the first article I saw, the first real one I saw was Reggie replaced by Bowser, and I was like,
That's funny.
oh, okay. I was like, is this like did a direct drop? Did some video drop that I'm not aware of?
Yeah.
And I like read it, and I was like, oh no. I was like, no, this is the worst case scenario.
Oh no,
I was like,
No.
oh, this is a real Bowser. But, and the reason why we bring this up, and somebody was like, it's really stupid that people have held on to, a corporate head like this. But he wasn't just that. Like, he's not like, he reminds me of Kevin Feige. And
Yeah.
I would compare the both of them, of that they care about what they make.
Right.
And so when they leave, it's going to shake their industry, their market.
Right,
And,
like-
they're culture shapers and visionaries in their market.
There's a certain appeal to people like that, like where you can see the level of dedication and pride they take in their job. Not only just because it's their job, but also because they loved the product before that.
Right.
Like I really like that comparison of him with Kevin Feige because you can tell when Kevin Feige is working on the MCU, like you can see that level of dedication and that huge fan service that comes from certain comic book movies. Like I was just watching Civil War this week, and the panel of Cap's shield and Iron Man's blasters hitting each other, that's from Civil War, like the comic. I'm like, that's just a slight example of them being like, we have to have that in our movie.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, Reggie's a perfect example of that for gamers. Like he was phenomenal in every way. Like I never had a bad experience watching Reggie do anything.
Yeah.
Like he always looked like he had the time of his life.
Except for hearing all the Mother questions, because they're blaming him for the reason we never got Mother 3 over here.
I think that Reggie had nothing to do with that. I think that Reggie probably would have loved for that to have
I mean,
come
it's
to the
like one of
States.
Iwata's last games, so if I had to guess, he was probably... I mean, I want to believe he was pushing for it, and there was just too many people on
Right.
internally that were
I
like...
believe that he would have been pushing for it with the relationship he had with Iwata. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't have given us the Mother series. For me, I'm just like, on Wii U...
Hold on. Please tell me that's not in the entire podcast. Like, we're not going to play it, and that's not going to play back,
No.
right?
No.
Are you sure?
Okay, anyway, I'm going to keep going because I just love this conversation either way.
We start to leave. Zach's like, I'm going to stay in here.
I'm going to keep talking until it's like 1 a.m. and I'm frozen to
Okay,
death.
well, we need to wrap up soon.
But yeah, I just think that knowing that we got Earthbound on the Wii U's...
Yeah, that was the debate. Is Earthbound beginning to
everything-
exist? And so, like...
Right, so I'm just like... I don't think that's true, I think he just... He was just so good at embracing the meme that became Reggie. Like...
Well, yeah, ever since My Body Is Ready, I think that was when he stopped being... like the corporate business president,
Right.
and became.
He
He's like, I have to be a fan, and that's what Bowser's got to do too. Is he
And
can't.
I think that they know that, which is why I think he was probably chosen.
Yeah, he was there either the Switch launch or something in the video.
He has a lot to do with the marketing for the Switch.
Well, he's
and
marketed the
everything.
Switch in North America.
Right. So, like, to me, I think Nintendo's future is actually really bright. I think Nintendo's going to be just fine.
Oh yeah, I think with the Switch's success,
Like, and I can't think of a better guy to replace Reggie right now. off the top
Random
of my
fun
head.
fact. Right when I heard his announcement, within 5 minutes I checked the stock market for Nintendo.
I bet it went down a little bit.
It skyrocketed. It went straight up. But it was 5 minutes before it was announced. That means the investors that knew about it before they officially announced it invested more money in Nintendo, most likely.
Probably because EA. I'd assume
Yeah.
you'd be like, this guy's already run a company. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not sure. But
Maybe.
anyways, I
Hey.
just kind of saw it. It made it was a straight up jump.
Insider.
So
But yeah.
But with that, we should probably wrap up. 'Cause we
Yeah,
got some
I
things
can't
we gotta
really
take
think of
care
anything else.
But I'm gonna miss you, Reggie. I know you will never listen to this podcast.
What if we tweeted it to him?
Well,
And
he doesn't have a
start
Twitter.
remembering Reggie.
We'll tweet it to Doug Bowser. Doug Bowser, we salute you. Please.
Let Reggie hear this.
But thank you all for listening. Thank you
Um,
for sticking here with us. I know this episode was a lot game heavy.
Before we go, today is February 24th, 2019. The Oscars are tonight. We do have a consequence in place for whoever loses. I just want to throw that in there before we go. So we're all gonna watch the Oscars, and somebody's gonna suffer.
Ready for
Maybe
Black
two of
Panther
us.
to win. Let's go. Let's
No,
go.
Green Book. Green Book.
My heart belongs to Green Book, but my mind is telling me Black Panther. But anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in to us to listen to our nonsense. Catch us on Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, Apple iTunes Podcast, or Apple Podcasts, iTunes, it's whatever. No, Apple Podcasts on your phone, or it's iTunes, right? That's how it works. I don't know.
It's that Steve Jobs life.
Yeah. Just figure out Apple and figure out Nothing Coherent. You'll
We're there.
Just
If you
search us
Google
in the
Nothing
search bar,
Coherent,
you'll
we
find
come
us.
up. It's great.
Yeah, we have a Nothing Coherent or Coherent Nothing Twitter and Instagram. Follow us on there. We have a YouTube channel that we will eventually post to. We have a few videos or audio clips on there. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to rate us on whatever you're listening to. Subscribe. We will see you next week after the Oscars, and you'll know who lost.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.